So you want to be ponytown famous. Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you guys a handful of tips that will hopefully help you reach that goal. Now, I've been around long enough and I get recognized every day on Ponytown, so I think I'm qualified enough to kind of share these tips and give these tips and advice and stuff like that. So let's start with a couple of obvious things. First of all, you're gonna want to choose a character, if that makes sense. You're gonna want to choose one or two different characters that you use more than any other character. This is one of the things that, like, if you want to get recognized, if you want people to know who you are, you absolutely have to do this. And if you want to get recognized and people to come up to you and be like, oh, OMG, it's you, you have to use like one or two different characters. Any more characters than that, it's going to be kind of hard for you to be recognized. Even if you're extremely popular, it'll probably be hard for you to be recognized. I can speak from experience. People recognize me as Birthmark and as Skella, but they recognize me far more as Skella because I use Skella every single day. I use that character all of the time. And so just like me, you're gonna have to pick a character that you use all the time. No matter which one of these in this list that you're gonna do, no matter which avenue you take to become Ponytown famous, you're gonna need like one or two different characters for this to work. So just keep that in mind. And let's start with the main thing here, the number one thing that's like pretty obvious, and that is becoming a content creator. Obviously, if you become a content creator and you become successful in that avenue, then you're going to start getting recognized a lot more in Ponytown. People will start recognizing you and coming up to you and talking to you, etc., asking for screenshots together or whatever, what have you, right? You can do like how I do and do a little bit of other stuff on the side as well, but you need to make a lot of Ponytown content if you're going to get recognized and become Ponytown famous, because otherwise you're just a YouTuber at that point, right? Now you could technically make this work through TikTok or YouTube, any kind of thing like that, just any kind of social media where you can post videos and a lot of content and stuff like that. It doesn't even necessarily have to be content. It could be a bunch of art that you do on like Twitter or, well, let's not use Twitter here, that you post on like Blue Sky or Reddit or something like that. This is just something that, like, if you want to become famous, become a content creator and make content. It doesn't necessarily have to be videos. Like I said, you could be making art of characters. You could just be sharing like tips and things like that, kind of like how I do a little bit. But really, you could do any kind of number of things in YouTube or TikTok to become Ponytown famous. Now, this is kind of hard because you have to like make it work. Like, you have to post like actually good content. You can't just post whatever. You have to post good content, stuff that people want to watch, something that people want to share. You'll have to post, stuff that people want to share. You'll have to post stuff that people like, things that people will subscribe to you for, and things that people will come back to you for, and stuff like that. So there's a couple of different routes you could take. Obviously, you could do a bunch of tips. You could do a bunch of tutorial videos. Honestly, most of those have kind of been taken up though, because it's a little bit too late to do those, to be honest. But you could do all kinds of things like funny moments. Maybe you can share some role play stuff. There's all kinds of routes you can take there. And I don't want to go too deep into like the content creator tips and route there, but pretty much that's your most easiest route to become Ponytown famous. Now, number two, I do not recommend number two to anyone. In fact, it's possible you could get in trouble. I don't really think you could, honestly. But I've noticed that this is something that people have done before in the past, and then they just disappear forever out of nowhere. And I don't know if it's because they got in trouble somehow. Maybe people that do this usually use a second account to do it or something. I don't know. But either way, I don't recommend this method because these people always seem to disappear and get forgotten pretty easily. But it's just be AFK. Just go into Ponytown. Again, you'll have to use the one or two characters that we made at the beginning of the video. Just sit at the docks or sit at the marketplace or sit in the library or something to that effect, and just sit there for an absurd amount of time, all of the time, every day. This I don't recommend for two reasons. One, it's going to limit the ability that you can interact with other players because you're going to be AFK most of the time, let's be real. Two, unless you have unlimited AFK timeout with like tier 3 or tier 4 supporter or whatever, it's basically impossible because you would have to constantly be going back to your computer to click on the screen or like interact with something so that you don't disappear from the game, because it literally boots you from the game if you're AFK too long, right? And number 3, like I said, these kinds of people always kind of just disappear after a while, and then you just never see them again. And it could be for a number of reasons. It could be that the people that do this are making a second account, which is against the rules, by the way. Do not make a second account. These people are possibly making a second account that they just keep AFK so that they can continue to play the game and interact with people and do what they want to do in the game, but also have that kind of horse famous, ponytown famous aspect of people recognize the character sitting at the docks and stuff like that. So that's possible what's happening there. Alternatively, the people are probably just using auto clickers, which is also against the rules, to just stay AFK so that they don't get disconnected from the game after sitting for so long. Another reason why I don't recommend this is because it could be kind of taxing on your computer to just leave it running all of the time. Now, if you're using like an iPhone or any kind of phone, I guess, or a tablet or anything like that, if you're using any device and you're being AFK 90% of the time, again, you're just leaving that device running almost 24/7, and that's just not good for the device. So that's another reason why I don't recommend it. Now, this does work, but again, I do feel it's very limited, and it's not super helpful like the other 2 things on this list are. But if you're AFK long enough, people will start recognizing, like, holy shit, this guy's been here forever. He's always here. What the heck is going on? I don't understand. And then they'll interact with you, and maybe that you can get some fans and stuff like that. But like I said, I've never really seen this work super well because they just kind of disappear. They kind of become myths a little bit. It's kind of a weird thing, and there's just a huge list there of reasons why I don't recommend it, but technically it would work. You would become recognized, and you would become kind of a semi-Ponytown famous situation there. Now, number 3 is probably my favorite way to do this, and it's not content creation or anything like that. It's literally just being active in the community. Now, this is kind of similar to being a content creator and being AFK all the time, but if you're playing the game a lot, if you have a ton of hours, if you're playing the game all of the time, you may as well stick to 1 or 2 characters that people might start recognizing and just interact with players a lot, hang out a certain area a lot so that people will always run into you every time they go to that area and you're like, holy shit, there's that guy again. Connect to social media or something like that to that pony, maybe join a bunch of role plays, maybe host a bunch of role plays, just a bunch of different things like this. Just those small things right there are enough to eventually become Ponytown famous. People will start to recognize you. You know what I'm saying? Another way to become super active in the community, of course, is to post a lot more on the subreddit, post on I don't think this will actually work, but there is technically a Ponytown Amino, or at least there used to be. I don't know if it's still there or not, but you could post a lot more on there. You could post on X or Blue Sky or any kind of social medias and just post a lot of Ponytown content on there. It doesn't necessarily have to be videos or anything like that. It could literally just be you sharing a build or sharing what you did in the game that day or something like that. Eventually, the more active you are in the community, people will start to see the name so often that they're like, oh my god, this is the same guy as before, and then they'll start paying a little bit more attention because they're like, why do I keep seeing this guy? And they'll go to your page, they'll look at all your stuff and like, okay, this guy is kind of cool, and then they will see you in the game because you're playing the game so often. They'll be like, holy shit, there's that guy, you post this all the time on subreddit, holy shit, I like your builds that you post on there, that's so cool. And then you'll get interactions that way as well. Another way to be active in the community as well is to host rating lines, to host regiments, like make your own regiment, make your own species, join some regiments, join some specific groups, join some Discord servers, share some Discord servers, just be active in the community in every avenue, every aspect. You don't necessarily have to do all of them, but the more you do, the more likely it is that people will start to recognize your name and your character, and they're like, holy shit, this guy's everywhere. What the heck is going on? You know what I'm saying? So those are kind of the main easy ways, which kind of technically aren't easy because some of them kind of involve luck a little bit, but those are some of the main ways that you can become famous in Ponytown. But yeah, those are the handful of tips there that I have that will hopefully make you famous in Ponytown. Let me know in the comments below if you find any of these tips helpful, if you're gonna try any of them. Let me know how successful you are at trying these things. And if you want to, just go ahead and share your social medias or your YouTube channels or your TikToks or whatever. Just go ahead and throw those in the comments below, and let's have everyone that's watching the video just go through all of them. Just check them out. Just check out all these other people that are making content and doing a lot of stuff in the community in the comments below. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all those wonderful things like that. Because when you do wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself. And I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.